It's the first intermediate of Season 5 and returning track from last season's schedule. Welcome back to the virtual Kansas Speedway for the Royal 150, the first ever IORA Cup Series race with single car qualifying, 100 laps and 150 miles on the menu on this Thursday night. IORA Cup Series returning to Kansas. James Thurston, our defending winner at this circuit, and he's one of the many drivers registered already, set to take a qualifying time with our brand new qualifying format, welcoming you all live on FTN back to the Windy City. With that being said, the winning city, Chicago. We're back in Tornado Alley. Tell you this much, Chicago we saw last season as well. We got a lot of returning tracks, and the opening stretch of the season, it's included, of course, Phoenix, Auto Club, Daytona. Now we're here, and I'm back with you all as well. I'm David Kreutzer, commentator and producer for tonight's event, and right now qualifying has 14 minutes left on the table. The reason being, drivers are still taking times. Henry Kaloff is going to go to second on the board. Last night, he won the final ever FORL Cup Series race. He is their Season 4 champion and comes in, of course, with that championship in the bag. Now going to be second on the board, looking for perhaps 2 consecutive victories, winning last night in the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, the rules for this event are a little bit different thanks to the qualifying structure. Every driver gets 1 lap only. As the driver comes through turns 3 and 4, who's on their lap, which is right now Cooper Nash, then the next driver gets going. As Nash goes across the line, he's going to take it all the way up to second on the charts. Aaron Schugel gets on the way in his warm-up lap, and it's going to be a consistent motion this time by Schugel, going to be the driver taking a lap, and he'll have 1 cycle around the circuit, a mile and a half to get himself sorted. Next driver up will be, looks like not James Thurston, but instead Casey Bentz. So Bentz is going to tee up immediately after, and he's on deck right now as he goes through the apron. It's going to be a persistent cycle. There's always going to be at least 1 driver on the track until the session is over. Right now, it's Aaron Schugel who runs through. He's going to be, of course, on his one and only lap, coming in at 170 miles an hour at the line for Schugel. That's going to take him up with a 31.069, moving him into the 4th position. So he goes up to 4th on that lap. Casey Bentz going to come through this time by. First time we've seen Bentz all season long. Multiple races from Season 4, and Bentz has returned this season around in his number 36 Toyota Supra. Stan's going to be going up to the top side of the track, maybe building momentum, but keep in mind, this is a 1-lap qualifying session. So with that being said, not a lot of reason to build momentum as opposed to using your momentum. It's a much different look for these drivers in terms of qualifying. Bentz is going to stay up top, presumably waiting for a second lap here. One he's not going to get at the line here for Casey. It's going to be 0.2 of a second quicker than his average pace, and it's going to be a good lap. It's going to be the best lap. At the top of the board, Casey Bentz goes with a 30.822 and puts it on top by a 1/10 of a second. Bentz is going to put the power down, and the momentum will prevail. And what a shock that was there for the number 36 all the way up top. And it looks like now Alexander Balder is going to go for the exact same strategy. Number 95, who won at Fontana, comes into the night 6th in points. Former points leader who got wrecked last week, not happy about the circumstances. He's back again. Right now, finds himself on the way, coming through his final 2 turns. Practice order is going to be the reverse of the qualifying order and vice versa. So if you are at the bottom of the board in qualifying, well, that's because you were at the top of the board in practice. And if you were at the top of the board in terms of taking a time, if you're the first driver to take a time in qualifying, you are the slowest driver from the previous session. And it slowly works up in a reverse order, which means the heavy hitters of this session are most often going to be the drivers that come in later. That's not always the case. We saw Daniel Mosteller come in. He had, of course, a very early qualifying time set. However, he was one of those drivers who didn't put a practice time in. That's the reason. So for Xander McKinney right now, he's going to be one of only 5 drivers left to take a lap. Number 40 coming across the line this time through. Top side looks to be king. And at the line for Xander McKinney, drops down to the apron. That's going to be good for a 31.043. That's going to be 4th on the board. Moves just ahead of Balderas. James Thurston now going to be on the way. And it's going to be Thurston coming through this time by 10 minutes flat on the clock. We should use up just about 4 more to get this session done and done. Looks like next up it's going to be River Page in the 20 24 getting on the move, so River makes it on. Gonna swerve just a bit to get going, and as such, he's on the way. Down the American Ethanol back straightaway for James Thurston, the driver who won here last season on a fantastic strategy call, besting the underdog of Alex Anderson when all was said and done. It was the number 96 who came out on top. Coming down the line, he's going to go right to the bottom, and it's going to be a 30.719. That is pole by a tenth of a second, clearly quickest, and as such, River Page right up next. A driver with a lot of confidence coming into tonight. If you watched us live on FTN on Saturday, he was able to pull together the victory at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with the exact same number 24, and last time he raced this combination in SNT, he was the race winner, and he came home with a $30 cash prize that night. He definitely knows his way around this circuit. I wouldn't count him out in the slightest. Matter of fact, he might be one of the early favorites. Page coming through this time by in the number 24. It's going to be Marcus Vanderlei up next, and now Page going to come to the stripe. His time is going to be set. It's a 30.632. He'll go up to the pole by a tenth flat. Now it's Page on top. Marcus Vanderlei is sideways on pit road. And a lot of trouble getting out of pit road for Marcus Vanderlei. It looks like the session is over. He had an incident already. That will end qualifying, and a little bit of an abrupt note. With that being said, session is over. Now time to move on to your main event. So the final time taken is the pole sitting time. Just like that, we are set to get going. 100 laps of racing. River Page is going to be at the top of the board. So let's run through your starting grid for tonight's event and get to know who starts where. Page going to be the first ever single car qualifying pole sitter. Next to him, going to be James Thurston there in second. 96 going to be just behind by exactly 87 thousandths of a second after further calculations. Casey Bent with his highest ever qualifying effort will start in third, the 36 besides the two-time champ in Daniel Mosteller outside of row number 2. Then from there, it's going to be the third row with Cooper Nash in fifth, and sixth spot being Xander McKinney. Number 40 going to be right there ahead of Alexander Balderas, your Fontana winner, and Henry Kaloff going to be in eighth, FORL Cup Series champion of last night. Aaron Schugel is going to be ninth, and Avery Farrell will round out the top 10. And then from there, it's going to be 11th, Bryce Kohler, 12th in Devins Baker, and 13th, Corey Lyles, with Matthew Brower in the 14th position, and Marcus Vanderlei in 15th. It's going to be Cash Kolb's 16th spot on the order, and there are 16 drivers registered for tonight's event. Looks like all of which going to be on the track right now, with the exception of Matthew Brower. We'll be set to get going momentarily here in Kansas. Let's get to know the mile-and-a-half circuit you're looking at right now. One of the many brand new 21st century intermediates, first used in stock car racing competition in 2001. The mile-and-a-half circuit here in Kansas City has made its name, of course, as one of those with the D-shaped tri-oval, an apron which you can use to go down to the bottom of the circuit, much like Chicagoland, a direct comparison, or maybe Fontana or Michigan, but at the same time, it's got its own quirks when it comes to the aerodynamics, and for a lot of drivers, especially during the Gen 6 era, that was where it all came into question. However, tonight, with these Xfinity machines, high horsepower, it's all less of a concern than natural aerodynamics. Gonna be a lot of power being put down as drivers get on the way. Your grid is rolling. Page going to get on the move here. He's going to be on the bottom side with James Thurston right up top. It was a strategy race last year. When it came down to Kansas Speedway, that was the name of the game. From top to bottom, if you could conserve your tires and go for longer stints with fuel, it would get you to the very end. It was a risky strategy played by Thurston, who won last season, and Alex Anderson alike. The only two drivers to really pull it off, and they were sputtering at the line. Goes to show they went till the last lap they could, and they timed it exactly right. Now, with these Indy cars, again, a much different package from the next gens of the two previous seasons. It's a little bit trickier to figure out how they should work the race. all green, most likely a one-stop strategy. Cautions will throw a wrench into the equation, though. Watch out for those if they occur. iRacing official pace car and Fred Jones inside of the cockpit. They're going to take the Ford Mustang down and in. It's a Toyota Supra that leads the field. River Page going to take them to the green flag, and we are underway in the Royal 150. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway. River Page leads us in a 1. First lap caution again. Number 55, a Cooper Nash goes around. Caution is out, and immediate trouble will strike. Yellow flag out for the second week in a row on the very first lap. And let's find out what caused it here as we are back under yellow to kick off the night. It's going to be 3 wide with Alexander Balderas, Daniel Mosteller, and Cooper Nash. Aaron Schugel right there too. It looks like Balderas coming up. Demos is going to lie back. Then Demos is going to get contact with Schugel. And then Cooper Nash ends up getting turned as a result. Yellow flag is out already. Caution will fly, and we'll take them back live on FTN here as it's an overall mild wreck, shall we say. And you're looking back at the leaders here. River Page at the top of the board, and he's still there 2 laps in out of 100. Looks like Corey Lyles is going to miss the first lap, but he's now on the track. He's going to be 15th as it stands, and for Lyles, he didn't really miss all too much. He's 1 lap down, and he's going to be there, back on the way. He should, as a matter of fact, be able to get his lap back too. So Corey Lyles, for all intents and purposes, really doesn't miss all too much, and he'll have a chance to start perhaps in 14th as a few drivers come down to pit road. Alexander Balderas is going to come through with Aaron Schugel, Daniel Mosteller, Casey Bentz, and Cooper Nash. They'll all come through for the first time in their respective races, and as such, yellow flag out for the first time tonight. Strategy calls already being made. It's going to be now a new top 3. Page, Thurston, and Henry Kaloff to round out that podium. Then from there, Xander McKinney and Bryce Kohler to round out the top 5. Bryce is going to be a rookie tonight in that number 98 Ford EcoBoost machine. First time we've seen Bryce in this series, so he's going to be able to experience it for the very first time. And another rookie of the season, shall we say. It's going to be Cash Kolb looking for a full-time campaign, perhaps for the rest of the year, making his first start of the campaign here. It's the number 1 of Kolb, now running in 6th. And just like that, another rookie to the series in Avery Farrell. With that being said, 2 drivers making their very first appearances here. Cash Colt making his first of the season, and Marcus Vanderlee, same goes for him. A few drivers, few new faces making it onto the circuit. Devins Baker going to be mixed in between them. And as such, we're getting set to go at the end of a lap number 4. This time by, it's going to be Page on top, Thurston in second. Third is going to be, as it stands, Kaloff, and then Bryce Kohler, position number 4. Coming through this time by, it's going to be 1 lap to green. Double file they may go, as you see already River going to the bottom. We'll see if the rest of the field goes with them. Doesn't look like they will, so we'll have an extended caution. We'll go at the end of lap 5. Thurston going to be second. Kaloff going to be third, and Bryce Kohler fourth. How about the drivers who just went down a pit road? Aaron Schugel going to lead the second half of the field in from 8th on back. Balderas 9th. It's going to be also Daniel Mosteller in 10th. Xander McKinney's coming out right now, and looks like Avery Farrell right there too. Casey Bentz is actually already disconnected. He's no longer on the circuit. Cooper Nash is in 14th, and Corey Lyles, who's getting some service right now, he's 13th as it stands, as drivers get grouped up once more. Going to be 14 on the circuit as we speak, going back to Corey Lyles, who missed the start of this race, but now he's back with the lead lappers, and River Page already saving just a bit of fuel here, as you see him down to apron now. You're watching live on FTN for our first broadcast of the night, but a lot of eyes going to be trending toward Thursday nights here for multiple other reasons. After this broadcast, immediately thereafter at 9:30 Eastern, I'll be taking on the Highline Racing League with Alexander Balderas. We'll be commentating all of the action as they head to the virtual Auto Club Speedway for 90 laps of racing. In addition, 8 o'clock Eastern, there's going to be the NASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series, the hottest ticket on the FTN FTN calendar every other Thursday night, and they'll be heading to the new Atlanta. The mini SuperSpeedway with the trucks is sure to be exciting, and of course a star-studded broadcast booth tonight with Kenneth Bueno, Jason Rockefeller, and Daniel Falkingham leading you through all of the action. FTN Thursdays, triple header tonight, and we hope you stay tuned for all of our broadcasts here as we kick it off with a very nice appetizer and the main event itself for IORA. It's a 100-lap feature here from Kansas. River Page, James Thurston, Henry Kaloff. The 1-2-3 punch up in front. Now Page and Kaloff alike competed last week in the, of course, previous event in this series, but also competed last night in the FORL Cup Series finale. It was Bristol Motor Speedway. Page ended up getting disqualified. All the while, it was Henry Kaloff who won the racing championship, as previously mentioned, and he came through with his first and only FORL victory on the night where it really mattered the most. That being said, Kaloff going to lead the way this time through second row. Leading man is still James Thurston overall on the high side, and River Page down on the bottom. Green flag gonna fly all over again. Let's get things going. Green flag's out. Restart number 1. Page on the move. That time by, River Page going to jump out to a quick lead. Rest of the field fighting one another here. You see Bryce Kohler with Alexander Balderas and all the company coming around at the same time. Going to be a very dense pack further on back here. Not going to be cutting each other any slack. And Mosteller down to the bottom side almost makes it work. But for now, Bryce going to defend. And as such, the middle of the pack going to be 2 by 2 by 2 in the opening laps of this race. Right now, top 3 going to break away. Henry Kaloff going to be in it as the final driver. Alexander Balderas beaten back and forth with Aaron Schugel. And a little bit of contact between the both of them there. And it looks like Balderas gets away with the spot. Marcus Vanderlee going to be there in 5th as he comes down the back straightaway. Kaloff and Cash Colt going to be running side by side. And the number 63 works down to the bottom. Cash Colt going to be in the wall. And he was going to get himself drilled up top, making it down low. A little bit of contact, but he's still in the pack here with Balderas going high. Not going to be an opportunity to defend. So taken 3 wide there by both Mosteller and Balderas. Cash Colt tries to stay there in the middle, but not enough momentum. So I think he's going to lose all those spots at once. All the while, Henry Kaloff now fight with Marcus Vanderlee. And it looks like Marcus might have the speed to get by. Side by side through turns 1 and 2. Not going to be the case through the next set of turns, but it looked like Vanderlee definitely got a good run there and might be a driver to look out for, challenging for the final spot in the podium. Same goes for Balderas and Daniel Mosteller, who are just behind and might make a few more moves as time progresses here. Leading the way, River Page going to be up in front by about 0.2 of a second. Then James Thurston right behind. Thurston still looking for an opportunity to redeem himself, of course, after Fontana, where he was the dominant driver in regards to speed, but just wasn't able to get it done due to a pit stop error. And it was Alexander Balderas who benefited the most, and he came out as the overall winner at the end of night. Stripe to stripe again, 10 laps in. Thurston tries to go for lead, can't quite get it there at the line. And once again, the 96 goes down to the bottom groove. And the Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport machine up to the lead. Balderas going to take 3rd, and he gets by both Kaloff and Vanderlee. Puts himself inside the top 3 for the first time tonight. Kaloff goes low, going to drop himself all the way down to the bottom. Can't quite get it though. Now Alexander Balderas is going to have to work up top and keep that momentum so as to not lose the position. Doesn't look like the spot is in any jeopardy as it stands. Coming around at the line once more. Balderas clearly now going to be over 1/10 of a second out, and the 3 wide right behind him, as you can see. Henry Kaloff side by side with Vanderlee. Demos up in the wall, but no other contact. They'll keep it clean and keep it straight as they come across the line yet again. like now it's going to be Vanderlei still fading back. A little bit of contact with the wall again for Mosteller, but nothing too crazy, so he'll keep on going with absolutely no problem. Another close battle going to be further back. You can see now the 91 of Aaron Schugel, Bryce Kohler as well, the rookie in his very first IORA start. Racing Schugel, they're racing nicely here just outside of the top 10. Devins Baker going to be running 10th exactly as we speak. Xander McKinney 9th, Corey Lyles 8th. Cash Culp is in 7th. And then from there, Kaloff going to be position number 6. Up top, you're going to see, of course, at the top of the board, River Page and Thurston, but Page has been able to defend successfully, and right now, Thurston not really making much of a charge until he did, and you can see now, Thurston, your new race leader, by a half a second. He'll get out to a jump start here as he comes down the back straightaway, and your new race leader in the early goings of this tire run. Most drivers have come down a pit road in one form or another. However, it's about a 50-50 split right now for drivers who are on the track, because Casey Bentz immediately disconnected from the session upon our first yellow flag. For James Thurston, though, he might be running himself a bit more aggressive than Page is right now, knowing the speed that River has in the tank, trying to get that distance and try to maintain it until the tire strategy comes into play. You can see there, James gets in the wall. Same goes for Lyles and Cash Culp further back in the field, but not good at all for James Thurston. As you can see, that right side damage beginning to come into its own. And the more that you have, the harder it is to drive, and of course, the less speed you're going to carry through the corners. Aerodynamically speaking, that is a driver's worst nightmare. And already there is some real damage, so I don't quite know whether or not he's got anything left for River Page. As you can see, Page has gained about 1/10 of a second in one lap. Nearly gets himself on the wall, but he'll get himself straight with a little bit of a quarter panel tap. And now River running down the backstretch gets even closer. Looking now right behind the back bumper, the number 96. Thurston is in trouble. Watch on board now with River Page making more and more moves as he's set to come to the line looking for the race lead. Now, River Page going to back off through the first two corners, and you can see exactly why. Thurston continuing to get in the wall as he comes out of turn 2. And of course, even though he's trying to drive it a bit harder than River, eventually that damage is going to collapse in on itself, and it's going to be an even worse driving experience for Thurston, who's lost about half his lead in 5 laps. Not a big lead to begin with, but half a second does mean a lot on the racetrack here. So that being said, I think Page going to be in a much better spot to get that lead back as time progresses. So far, though, hasn't made the move to do so, and he will wait just a bit longer. All the while, battles in the rest of the field are still heating up. You see Henry Kaloff there with Cash Culp. He's going to look down low on Cash Culp. Got blocked once, but he'll go even further down the track. And as such, the 63 makes his nice move down and in. He's going to make it a slice side by side. 18 laps in out of 100. Make it lap number 19. And it's going to be the 63 still working low, trying to find an opportunity, but he will not give in. Marcus Vanderlei won't. And he's now right there side by side as they come across the line once again. Maybe they will be again, but that's still going to be a big question with Vanderlei making contact. I think the advantage now going to be firmly in the hands of Henry Kaloff as the battle for the lead is closer than ever. You can see now James Thurston coming across the stripe again. He's got River Page right there with him. Still not anything that River can do as he's trying to get that spot back to return to the race lead. Thurston's damage compounding and beginning to see that right side really wear itself out. Thurston right now going to nearly get in the wall once again. He'll have to slow himself down and pinch River up to the top of the wall as they come through the American Ethanol back straight away. That's about the only thing that River can, of course, accept, and he'll do it with pride, taking it and making it even better for himself up to the race lead. He'll use the momentum from the top side to carry through and get up to the point. River Page takes an immediate half a second lead as soon as he jumps by Thurston. Now James Thurston going to have to figure things out with the damage he has. What can he do, if there's anything he can do, to get back up there and take the lead again? I think for Thurston, well, that's going to be a very big question mark, even though it's not major damage necessarily. Not at all a good thing to have any sort of damage early in the racing. And right now, he might be falling victim to Alexander Valderas, who was much further back, but that time by was much quicker. That time through for Alexander Balderas, he ran a 32.462. James Thurston ran a 32.607, and the rookie of Bryce Kohler going to have some trouble coming down and into pit road this time by. Might be an unscheduled pit stop as the number 98 makes it through, and it's going to be a rookie dropping down and in. That's going to be Bryce Kohler on the way. Cooper Nash also disconnected very recently. All the while, Xander McKinney and Aaron Schugel fight each other. They are at the back of the field right now, fighting for 10th. Looks like now it's going to be 11 drivers on lead lap as a result of that manual pit stop, and we'll see if it's service or something a little bit worse. As it stands right now, looks like Bryce should be good to go to get back on the racing circuit. He's still there on pit road, so we'll have to wait a bit longer as River Page is set to come around this time by and put him one more lap down out of turn 4. This time through for Page, he's got a 9/10 of a second lead. And for every lap he's had it, he's at least extended the gap by 0.2 of a second each and every time around. It's a very quick jolt of energy for River Page as he returns to your race lead and so far holds control again. James Thurston gonna lie in second. Alexander Balderas is about 1 second away and is now trying to get up there for the second position overall. And the bottom step of the podium is his with Daniel Mosteller, your winner from last week after a chaotic green-white checkered. He's sitting just outside the podium, about 9/10 behind Alexander Balderas. And if push comes to shove with James Thurston, maybe even Mosteller can jump up inside the top 3. That remains to be seen. And right now, Corey Lyles and Henry Kaloff go at it as well. Now Mosteller going to be up in front of the both of them here, but it's still going to be Kaloff and Lyles side by side. 56 machine going to be coming down the back straight with a little bit more momentum. Looks like there, Kaloff is going to have to give in and let off. See him go down to the bottom side once again, neck and neck as they come through the final 2 turns. It looks like Kaloff doesn't have the nice exit he required, and it's going to give that spot right back to Corey Lyles. Lyles there going to be in 5th as he takes the position right back. Devin Baker also going to be in a very close fight further with Cash Culp and Marcus Vanderlee. See now that number 14 running just behind as he scored currently in 9th. Let's take a lap on board here with Devin Baker as he runs in the 9th position. Baker right now going to be running at a speed of 163 miles an hour, and at the line, he's going to be able to move up into 7th, actually make that 6th for Henry Kaloff as he's just about 9/10 ahead. Looking at the battle persisting here for the number 63. Kaloff still fighting fiercely, but so far, not much he can do. Lyles with that momentum consistently being better up top, that's been the way to go, and as such, not much else that Corey Lyles can think of. His defense has been solid. Kaloff dives deep once again, but really has been no real opportunity given by that number 56. Further on back, the battle is going to continue, but at a little bit of a lesser scale. Now it's going to be between Marcus Vanderlee, Aaron Schugel, and Xander McKinney. It looks like for Vanderlee, he's been dropping down drastically in the past few laps. That time by running a 33.411, the second slowest lap on the circuit. Avery Farrell was a bit slower. He's 13 seconds behind your race leader and running alone right now in 12th. He's still the leading rookie of the race when it comes to first-time drivers. Marcus Vanderlee making his first start of the season. He's down to 10th already and might be moved to 11th in the case Xander McKinney gets up there with them. At the line, River Page led again. He's now got a nearly 2-second lead on James Thurston. Goes to show the big difference in pace Page has relative to the rest of the field right now. And for River, he came into the night tied for the points lead with Daniel Mosteller. And once again, it looks like there's a new challenger rising against the 87 this season. Last year, it was Sean Sean Conklin, who eventually came through the championship due to Mosteller's other sim racing opportunities coming into play. Tonight, though, of course, River Page going to lead, and so far, Mosteller still doing well in fourth, but he'll need a bounce-back race if he wants to get up there to Page, unless something drastic were to happen. They came in level after, of course, Mosteller's victory in Phoenix, which was a shock to the field, and then from there, of course, we saw what happened with River Page. His consistency, that has been the biggest of deals all throughout the season, and he continues to keep it there as it stands. Number 56, Evanderly, who was still watching, having a little bit of trouble, but nothing all too crazy for him. So far, going to be running down a pit road, and it might be an unscheduled pit stop 31 laps in. Vanderly down and in, and that will be his night. So one driver going to call it quits there. Balderas is going to be chasing down Thurston, and right now it's going to be a gap between them of a quarter of a second. Alexander Balderas, number 95 as it stands, going to be running just about 3/10 back of the runner-up spots. And for Balderas, this could be a huge night in the championship standings, currently finding himself, of course, 6th coming in after an incident shot him back from the points lead, and running inside of the top 3, maybe even to make it up to the runner-up spot is a big deal in itself. Right now, though, a bit of contact with the wall, and Daniel Mosteller, too. For as much pressure as he's putting on for James Thurston, there's an equal amount, if not even more, being put just behind. That's because Daniel Mosteller is right there and looking for an opportunity in his own right. At the line again, they'll go. Mosteller now going to be dropping down and in, and it's Alexander Balderas staying right up top. Side by side, they'll go into turn 1. They're going to keep it there, coming out of turn 2 into the American Ethanol back straightaway. Side by side, they are due to be as they come across the corner, and it looks like Mosteller gets the pass. Balderas, not much he can do. Looks low, doesn't have an opportunity to lunge deep, so he'll stay right behind and wait again. Battle calms down once more, and for every battle that calms down, it looks like another will immediately begin. Devins Baker now going to be looking high on Henry Kaloff. Kaloff slowly but surely losing his pace as the night progresses, and maybe similar situation to that of Marcus Vanderly, in which Vanderly disconnected for the night. It might be that pace slowly but surely wearing out due to the tires being used. That's going to be something persistent with the entirety of this race. Conserving your tire, no matter, of course, how long the run is, going to be critical, especially in the long green flag stint we've had so far. And given the field size, it's more than likely we'll see the rest of this race go under green until the checkered flag. So it's going to be non-stop action for these drivers. Next to no opportunity to take a break. So you want to prepare yourself for the long haul here and figure out what exactly you need to do to maintain your equipment. Maybe for Kaloff, that's exactly what he did there, saving his stuff up for what's left. But I think with how hard he pushed there in the first 20-odd laps, running up inside the podium and fighting to lead some laps up ahead, maybe it's now all coming back to bite him as Devins Baker makes it by. That moves Baker up into 6th, and the night of attrition really helping out Baker for what could be his best ever IORA Cup Series finish if he were to stay in this spot for the rest of the night, running just outside of the top 5. Alexander Balderas right now, another man to look at once more. He's 6/10 back on Daniel Mosteller, and it looks like now Demos is going to be the man putting pressure on James Thurston. 2 former IORA Cup Series champions going to be going at each other, and perhaps very soon that battle will be side by side. As 37 laps in, they're nearing each other once again, and on the approach, going to be Demos making up more time. Another new paint scheme for Daniel Mosteller. You might have remembered last week he was in a Ford Mustang. This time by, he's in a Toyota Supra, and number 87 going to be coming down the back straightaway. See there, much different. It was an all-black paint scheme last week. Tonight, not going to be the case. The Joe Nemechek font with a Nemco look, and looks like he's going to drop down to the bottom side there as he takes it low. It's going to be 2 red machines going right at each other, and it looks like Daniel Mosteller's got a little bit more speed in him there, taking the spot at the end of lap number 38. Big move there from Mosteller. All the while, Xander McKinney and Cash Cope will go at it. This is the fight now for 10th. I think they'll be going at each other here to stay inside of the top 10. Cash Cope is going to get it there. Xander McKinney drops back ever so slightly. And now James Thurston going to try to stay with Daniel Mosteller and maybe make up just a bit more time. For Demos, who finds himself up ahead of the field, of course, second right now. I don't think there's really much an opportunity to catch back up to River Page, given how far ahead he is compared to the rest of the field. What might happen, of course, is that pit strategy equalizing everyone else, but for Page, he's far enough ahead where he doesn't necessarily have to worry about that. And maybe, of course, that's a better thing than anything else for a driver like the number 24 of Page, but for everyone who's not leading the way, and not even close for a matter of fact, not going to be an easy night. It's going to be all about making it happen over the long run, and right now, you're only going to be surrounded by one or two drivers besides you at the very most. Bryce Kohler this time by, going to be dropping down to the 8th route. He might be having some troubles here, 5 laps down as we speak. And he'll be dropping down and in again. So maybe a little bit more repairs for the number 98 as he makes the move in. And he looks to be calling it as well. Alexander Balderas out in front in 4th. Looks like James Thurston going to get the wall just a bit. And as he catches it, he'll go once more. Coming around at the line, 41 laps into lap number 42. Demos getting away. Xander McKinney right now on the back bumper of Cash Cole. The battle's not done. It looks like Xander slowly but surely fading back. Right now for Xander McKinney, not much else he can do, but it looks like he's just not got it. Cash Cope will take the spot right from him. That will put him now 15 seconds behind your leader, Avery Farrell, the rookie inside the number 35, is all the way alone and currently runs 23 seconds back. In the case of trouble, which we might see here, Devins Baker goes down a pit road. He's going to miss the pit commitment cone. I think that's going to be a penalty, which might ruin the rest of his race. Down and in, Devins Baker makes it. That looked to be, though, a penalty if he didn't make it through. The final verdict going to be coming in very, very soon here, and that we are due to figure out. Yellow flag not going to fly as a result, and just like that, it's going to be Baker on his way with a pass-through. He'll move around. James Thurston comes down and in. So for Thurston, it's going to be a two-stop strategy the way things are looking. 44 laps on this stint. Then from there, he'd have to go another 44, which only gets him up to lap number 88. So maybe we're going to see a two-stop strategy for some drivers. Some others might try to stretch this first stint all the way and take us till the very end. That is the big question here. We're, of course, going to figure out whether or not Balderas decides to stay out. For River Page, not much more he can do. He will come in this time by. That all but confirms that it's not going to be realistic to see that one-stop strategy in play tonight. And now with River Page through, we'll see who is next. Daniel Mosteller at the line, going to take it through, and he finds himself as the overall race leader now. Lyle's going to be the man outside of the podium. No longer. He just made his way up and passes by Alexander Balderas. It looks like Balderas might be aiming either to go down a pit road or save a little bit more of his stuff. It could be a 50-50 when it comes to the number 95 here as he backs off, going at a speed of about 150 miles an hour. I think he's definitely going to be eyeing pit road with the speed he's going in at, and Henry Kaloff is going to get by, but it looks like no, Balderas stays out on the track. He is saving like crazy. That was a 35-second lap, mind you. So I think Balderas might have the same idea we did. I think he's going to try to go for a one-stop strategy on the entire race. It's a risk, but it could be possible if it's all pulled off correctly. Net race leader coming off the pit road is Devins Baker. Then there's going to be River Page, Corey Lyles and company, the drivers who have not come down and in just yet, and only Alexander Balderas is saving to go all the way. Lyles going to get a bit loose, but he'll keep it together. Now Henry Kaloff, your race leader, and Balderas dropping back. That's going to be another 35-second lap. That time actually a 34.458. Slightly quicker, but it's evident he is not going at full saw just to make it to the end. In the case any driver can take it past lap number 50 on this stint, it might just be a nearly guaranteed race victory. That's, of course, if it's possible for Balderas. Doesn't look like it will be. He's going to lose a lot of time saving and still have to compromise loose on the way in, and he will come through with Kaloff and Aaron Schugel together. That will give the race leader right back to River Page. Page gets by Devins Baker. That's going to be the move for the lead, and he'll get through pit row and find himself the overall man at the top top spot. Now the big question is, what can River Page do for the rest of this race? He's already out in front. He's been confident since the jump, grabbing the pole position, has led the most laps so far. And for River Page, really going to be a race to ride home about, given his performances to this point. He's currently found himself, of course, up to the top of the board after the pit cycle. He was 4th at the previous lap, but that will be the case no longer when we come around this time by. He's of course about a 31-second a lap pace, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, keeping things consistent. However, as the tire run goes on, they'll be dropping down to 33 seconds laps, which explains a bit of that deficit at the very end. For Balderas, though, he was going slow to save everything. Did not quite work out. 49 laps in, out of 100. Page is going to be up at the front of the field, and he's now going to be 3 seconds ahead of James Thurston, in 11 seconds behind, running in 3rd. It's going to be Corey Lyles. What a difference it is for the drivers in this field. Devins Baker, Daniel Osteller are going to be put 1 lap down respectively. Baker just came out of pit road, and Daniel Osteller gets back on the way. We now have a total of 9 drivers left on the lead lap to battle each other. Alexander Balderas is going to be a man who definitely wants to make spots up. Not the best start for him, and as it stands, of course, it's going to be the road to recovery, as the 95 fell back on pit road due to his idea when it came to strategy not really being the best to look out for the night. Tried something different, and given the fact that he's already high up in the point standings, there is room to experiment, but it looks like the conventional method was the best to go with tonight. However, we do not see that on the circuit right now for the 95, and Balderas is going to run it back. 3 wide now he will be with Henry Kaloff and Aaron Schugel working up top. There he goes again. It's going to be now Balderas up to 6th in one move, and with room for maybe 1 or 2 more as the race goes on from here. Xander McKinney's only 2/10 up. Likewise, it looks like Aaron Schugel is too. So with that being said, it looks like now Alexander Balderas in good range with a lot of drivers. Maybe a chance at a top 4 finish, even if he can't claw back to the podium. Not all hope is lost right now for the driver in that number 95. Keep a watch out, as Balderas, though, is going to have a little bit of pressure going down to the inside. That is going to be Schugel coming in once again, launching down to the bottom side, and opportunity awaits. Just a bit more as he comes across the line. That's what he's going to need. Stripe to stripe, Balderas is going to lead him once again. He's still going to maintain that position, and the way these drivers are going at each other, of course, is going to slow the both of them down. But I don't think that's the intention for Aaron Schugel. He just wants the spot, and he knows he has a chance to grab it, so why not go for it? That's definitely what's going on in the mind of this number 91, and no reason to deny he's got pace. He's right there, making it a very close battle. They're side by side again, coming up on Xander McKinney. So even as they go at one another, they're simply quick enough to make the move and get closer and closer to their competitors. A nice battle here. Balderas remains all the way up top. It's going to be that number 91 of Schugel, maybe a bit loose through the first 2 corners, and he will have to slightly let off once again. Coming through this time by, you can see Devins Baker still ahead of him all as well, but he's not going to be on the lead lap any longer, as now Balderas goes down low on Cash Cope. That's the move for 4th, and the 95, despite the alternate strategy, has recovered all but one of his previous positions and now finds himself just outside the podium. Exactly what he needed to do to recover. He did that and then some, and it's a rapid fast move back up into 4th. Quick timing there and quick thinking for Balderas, but of course, Cash Cope and company are going to keep him honest. Working down the back straightaway all over again. You can see now Aaron Schugel going low on Xander McKinney. McKinney, one of the drivers who struggled greatly when it came down to that long run pace. Maybe that's going to happen once more, but of course, remains to be seen. As drivers come across the stripe, Cash Cope going to be held up high and pinned top as Aaron Schugel remains right down low, side by side again. Schugel looks low, he gets the spot, and now Xander McKinney going to try to follow his lead. Maybe an opportunity to do so now, as he's going to be just about 2 car lengths back. Cash Cope right there, and Schugel sent up high. A lot of pressure now for this number 91. Of course, having to fend off Balderas didn't quite work out eventually. Next up on the agenda, it's going to be that number 1 of Cash Cope, who he's kept behind so far. Maybe not going to remain the same way as things go on. Side by side, it's going to be 56 laps in out of 100. The closest battle, no longer side by side. That's going to be Cash Culp and Xander McKinney here. Number 40 of McKinney going to be running in 7th. And we'll take a look on board right now as he continues to wield this number 40 just outside the top 5. Little bit of contact in the wall, and he is staying up there for about half the turn. We'll watch as he comes through this time by and watch a lap of recovery for the number 40. Right now, 1/10 of a second behind is Henry Kaloff. Kaloff has gained big. Xander McKinney going in the other direction, so not good at all for this number 40 team. Of course, right now it's going to be Kaloff making gains, and he has an opportunity to take a spot coming through this time by 58 laps in, and he's getting closer and closer, drawing near there to the back end of the number 40. Good so far to take the spot and go for a pass. Kaloff will make it through, and that's going to be good for 7th. Cash Culp going to be in 6th, and Aaron Schugel going to be in 5th. For those of you watching the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, or those of you who intend to watch on FTN, broadcast has just started, and they're now on the starting grid. eNASCAR action returns to FTN every other Thursday night, and we have only just begun. Right now, 59 laps in out of 100. We're going once again, of course, here in IORA, and the FTN triple header ramping up with our next broadcast kicking into gear. Make sure to check that out later on tonight, and of course, stay with us with the Xfinity action as the Highline Racing League heads to the virtual Auto Club Speedway. Of course, we saw how good Auto Club was with the IORA Cup Series just a few weeks prior, getting a chance to look at it all over again with some in-car experience in Alexander Balderas commentating the show alongside myself for the rest of the night. Down low, McKinney's going to be pushed up high. It's going to be Kaloff now making the spot up again for 7th. They stayed side by side, but Henry gets the spot right back, and a quick move there for Henry Kaloff moves him into 7th again. Going to be there firmly now, chasing next Cash Culp, who's about a half second ahead. Now the question becomes here, of course, one more pit stop is presumably left for the rest of this race. Of course, what's going to be done to split up the rest of this event? Are we going to see drivers come into about lap number 70, 75, try to go in early, get it over with? Will we see drivers go as long as possible into the mid-80s as we predicted? Something maybe in between, or something a different number, shall we say, coming in early, maybe the next 10 laps. It's possible to do so and come in before the lap 70 marker. Maybe we'll see drivers stretch it to about lap number 90. Alexander Balderas definitely tried to do just that. He was living on a prayer and maybe still hoping for the caution. Right now, he runs alone in 4th and is making up gains here in terms of Corey Lyles. He is just about 3 seconds behind as he comes out of the corner once again. Lyles is just barely in frame. However, he's been several tenths quicker each and every lap Balderas has been relative to Lyles, so maybe an opportunity as it's going to be now a 3.8 second gap. Not time by though with Devins Baker racing him directly. Going to be a bit slower, so not at all what I think he wanted there for Balderas' sake. He's not going to be happy with the lap machine racing him side by side. It's going to be down the American Ethanol back straightaway, working up to the top. Balderas again. Not a battle for position, but a battle for that track real estate, which is oh so important in the dying laps. Side by side once again here, Henry Kaloff going to be working way down low, and Cash Culp going to be able to get the spot. Looks like for Culp, the momentum will prevail this time, and he will stay in 6th. Kaloff going to lunge in once again. He's been almost unstoppable in his charge up so far, and right now this is the battle, of course, for the 6th spot. With Culp in the wall, it's going to be Kaloff who easily comes through, and as such, the number 63 moves up into 6th. Only now 8 drivers remain on the lead lap. Both McKinney and Cash Culp may actually be in jeopardy as the race progresses. Now it's going to be, of course, 1 pit cycle left with about 20 laps to go. An opportunity for the remainder of these drivers to stay on the lead lap is slowly but surely becoming very slim. River Page is at least a half lap ahead of the field with the exception of Lyles and James Thurston. For 3 drivers, sixth on back. They are over 20 seconds behind, and Aaron Schugel might be the next one to come. Same goes for Alexander Balder. So that's how far back the majority of this field is. James Thurston is nearly 6 seconds behind. He's been a cruise for River Page, and he might be one of the best drivers with this combination on the entire platform. Xfinity cars and Kansas Speedway, he proves to be a dominant force no matter where you take him, and looking for his second win of this combination this year. Once again, in dominant fashion, nobody there, anywhere in sight. If you were to watch this River Page's race feed, you would think he was driving alone all throughout. It's going to be that number 24 of Page at the head of the field, and as it stands, he's going to be leading the way with clear track right ahead of him. You can see as he comes down the front straightaway, nothing to look at, the exception of the grandstands, and of course the next turn he comes into, coming through this time by 67 laps in out of 100. It has been a fantastic performance, no doubt, but you got to wonder, what is it like inside of the cockpit? Well, let's find out as we go and take a look inside for River Page, and you'll see a little bit more of the handwork and the movements inside of the car. Of course, taking that left turn here, and the minute adjustments are really what make it all happen. You can see he's shifting it back and forth, a little bit of a slide through the corner to get the absolute most out of the car, and that's what keeps River Page out in front. Taking those risks, getting the slides in, it might not be fully smooth sailing, but it's all the effort that goes in lap after lap that makes him the better driver out of everyone in the field. 69 laps in, and he's got a nice lead up ahead. Nobody challenging him so far, and you look further back, no battle is really going to be in existence here. Maybe the closest going to be Xander McKinney and Cash Culp. They're going to be running 7th and 8th respectively. Now it's going to be a big trouble for the number 40 of McKinney, who keeps himself down on the bottom side. He's been a bit slower on these longer runs, even though Cash Culp got shot back very, very far. Maybe for Xander McKinney, there's an opportunity for him to perhaps get a spot or two ahead of him if he can just keep the tires together. However, last run, that was not the case. He was the driver who shot back the most rather than Cash Culp. So you gotta wonder, does Cash have a little more up in his sleeve to get back there? Because 70 laps in out of 100. Coming down to the dying stages here, and your leader is coming around to make it 30 laps to go. More than half of this race out the way, River Page has been the controlling force since the very beginning, and nobody else going to do it quite like him as the night has gone on. To this point, Page is going to be up there, and he's led, well, let's find out exactly how many laps he's led. Clearly going to be over 50 now, 57 to be exact. He was as low as 7th earlier in this race. However, he started from the pole, and he's been there ever since, and with exception of a few laps led by James Thurston, he has held control unlike any other driver, and that makes it lap number 58 he has led. He has led all but now 14 laps on the day, and could be set to lead 86 when we come through at the checkered flag. So far, Xander McKinney has made up a few gains there on Henry Kaloff. He was about 4/10 of a second back, maybe had an opportunity to make that pass stick, just wasn't there. And at the line again, Kaloff is going to be still in 6th, losing a bit more time though. That was a 33.09 for Kaloff, and it was a 32.934 for Xander McKinney. So now, 73 laps in, it looks like it's going to be a real opportunity for Xander to make a pass. He's getting closer and closer every lap now. Maybe there's a little bit more left. Comes through this time by out of turn 4. Looks definitely better through the first 2 turns. Then they all stretch out again coming down the front stretch. But McKinney making up more time. Might have an opportunity to get by Henry Kaloff before the pit cycle has concluded. 28 laps on this stint so far for some drivers, 29 for others. But with that being said, we're coming around to the final stretch on this run of tire and fuel. River Page, of course, he's got to think about what's next, as he will, of course, set the tone for the remainder of the field. And they're leading once more. Then 6 seconds back, it's going to be James Thurston running in 2nd. Corey Lyles is going to be 3rd, and Alexander Balderas going to be in 4th. Aaron Schugel rounds out the top 5 with Henry Kaloff 6th. Xander McKinney right now going to be in 7th still. However, he's been consistently trying to catch up to Kaloff. Just hasn't quite gotten the room to make the pass. He's gotten the distance, but now has to make the finishing touches if there's any opportunity to take the spots. Xander McKinney still going to be closest. Another battle is brewing on the track, and this time it's between lap machines. Avery Farrell going to be passed by Daniel Mosteller, and Demos makes it by quickly. He was put down a lap due to, of course, pit road troubles earlier, and as such, he gets back up there and is going to find himself in ninth. So despite the troubles today, still looks to be a top 10 run when all is said and done for Daniel Mosteller as he comes across the line once more to make it lap number 76 for his race. Still has to wait, of course, a few more laps because he's still one down. He might not get to the checkered flag in the same way as your leaders here because, of course, River Page one lap up. By the time he hits the checkered flag, it'll be James Thurston, of course, hitting the checkered flag with them. But for Daniel Mosteller, he'll be coming down to the white flag lap, and the race will be effectively over. Xander McKinney within 1/10 of a second out of turn 2, and he's going to back off just a bit again. Can't quite get that run, and that has been the big Achilles heel for this entire number 40 team. Execution through the final 2 turns, just not the same. They rate at lunging it deep, but not much else so far as he's going to come across the line yet again. 25 seconds behind Cash Culp is from your leader, and if anything were to happen to him on pit road, he would almost definitely go one lap down. Lap number 78 and 23 laps to go. Next time by on FTN, we're going to crank it up with our exclusive camera partner live on FTN. TrackCams22.com provides the highest quality sim racing cameras on the market, and we hope you check out their stuff with over 100 car and track combinations available. TrackCams22, Track Cams for Gourmets, the best place to go for all your iRacing camera needs. TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com/TrackCams for more information as we're going to crank it up with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at Track Cams for Gourmets. 17 laps to go this time by, and coming to 16, pit cycle is almost entirely completed. Aaron Schugel comes down and in. Trouble for one driver coming through. That looked to be Xander McKinney. However, the rest of the drivers will get through cleanly. And now we're at the very tail end of what's all been said and done throughout this event. Coming through this time by, Lyles will give up the race lead, and it's going to be now in the hands of River Page out in front. River's got the top spot, and the rest of the field, of course, going to be waiting to shuffle back up one more position. Alexander Balderas makes it back up into third, and it looks going to be there ahead of all but Corey Lyles here. Lyles going to be down and in this time by. He will be passed by Page pretty clearly there. Then James Thurston coming immediately thereafter, and the race is going to be between Corey Lyles and Alexander Balderas to get back into my apologies there, back into third. Now it's going to be Balderas coming down pit road this time by, so it looks like not much of a chance for him here, except he would try a claw back late, and he comes down and in with 16 to go. Final driver to drop through, and as such, it looks like he had a mistake on pit road previously. That's going to cost him big time as he comes in for his second pit stop of the stint. Now Lyles is going to be safely inside of the top three. It's going to be Henry Kaloff in fourth and Aaron Schugel in fifth. However, that could fluctuate. Now, 0.5 of a second back, Henry Kaloff is going to be the man who leads that battle. However, of course, it's not going to be an open and shut case. Kaloff still has that opportunity as River comes across the line yet again. And you can see how close the entire field is to going one lap down. If Kaloff gets caught, it's going to be 3 drivers left on the lead lap in a green flag stint. That's how dominant River Page has been. Almost the entire field has been put 1 lap down or more. James Thurston actually going to make up a lot of time on pit road. He's within 2.5 seconds here because his pit stop was about 5 seconds quicker. However, not enough to get back to River here, and that might have been the last chance he had all the while. It's a battle still here between Kaloff and Aaron Schugel. Schugel is going to be the man in jeopardy of going 1 lap down, and now 13 laps to go. It's River Page up in the front of the field. He has been dominant since the start and now puts himself in that position once again to go for the race victory down the American Ethanol back straightaway, and the number 1 of Cash Colt going to be put another lap down. River Page up in front for Flopper Racing. No shortage of dominance tonight. And now he's looking to finish it all off nicely and wrap it with a bow as he comes through one more time again. 12 laps remaining. That's the distance to go. He's been able to hold on to this point. Now it's all about making it to the final stretch. Kaloff now going to be caught up to by within a gap of 0.3 of a second. By no means is Schugel going to give in now. I think he knows how close he is and that there's clearly an opportunity to make something happen. He just hasn't gotten to the point of completing the pass. He's gotten inch by inch, even closer though, and maybe it's a shot as he comes through this time by. Going to be a total now of only 11 to go this time through. Still watching as the lappers make do with what they've got, and of course your final drivers on the lead lap trying to figure out this fight. Look on board now with Aaron Schugel, and you'll see exactly what's going on with the number 91. As the field comes across the line again and again, Aaron Schugel, he's still there, but it's now going to be all about finding the perfect opportunity to strike and make the distance close even. This has been all about the execution all night long. We've said it again and again and again we will. Aaron Schugel, though, trying to work the lines. A lot of these drivers, of course, preferring the bottom tonight, and of course in qualifying was more up to the top, but as the lines have progressed, more drivers trending right down low, and that's the norm at the time being. I think it's going to be the way it stays, of course, for the rest of this race. Given how few laps we have remaining, should be indicative of how everyone else drives until the very end. 9 laps remaining. This time by, now down to the bottom side, Kaloff going to have to defend and squeeze Schugel right high. Number 91 going to take it way top and keeps it there up on the high side. Nothing more that he can do except get the nice run off the corner, and that should be good for a pass completion for now. The number 91, 8 laps remain. Kaloff now going to be in 5th, and Xander McKinney then in 6th. Daniel Mosteller going to be 7th right now with Alexander Balderas Balderas, but no battle there. McKinney going to find himself the first driver 1 lap down. Now, Caloff that time by actually gained on River Page, and while River was able to make another second on James Thurston, it looks like the lapper should be good enough to go all the way without being put one more lap down. At the line again, 7 laps remaining. And you can see him come through. The 63 of Caloff, still going to be about a quarter of a second behind. Just hasn't been able to make that pass work on, of course, a defense pass. It was Aaron Schugel waiting oh so long to make it in. Now he's in 4th. Corey Lyles is firmly inside the top 3. Doesn't look like anyone's going to knock him off as James Thurston is in 2nd and River Page is in 1st. 6 laps to go as Page comes across the line once again. And dominance not be understated. Of course, coming in tied in the point standings with Daniel Ostello. For Ostello, not a bad night in the slightest. However, with the way it's all come down, he just has not been the driver to beat. He's in 7th as it stands. Ran higher earlier in the race, and if you want to see a little more information, here you have it. He's not done with the race just yet, but he's in 7th currently. He was as high as 2nd as the race got going. He started in 4th and was as low as 14th. As it stands, though, it looks like for Ostello, he is going to be in 7th, and that might be where he stays for the rest of the night. Looks like Alexander Balderas is going to slow up a bit more. He's going now at about 160 some miles an hour, running firmly in 8th. Not much else he can do as we're still watching Caloff and Schugel. Looks like Henry Caloff may be the loser of this battle and Schugel the winner as the field is set to come around once again for what will be lap number 97. Now going to be River Page leading the way out in front by over 4 seconds on James Thurston. A 4.3 second gap this time by. And that's going to be good for the race lead if he can just maintain the pace he has or even go up to a second a lap slower. Distance is in its favor. Time is in its favor as well. And all of these elements of racing combining to give the perfect opportunity for Page. So long as he keeps it clean till the very end here. 4 laps remain. One driver who's going to have a bit of trouble, it still is Balderas here coming across the line. And he runs now 11 seconds behind Daniel Mosteller. It was a 33.672 that time through for the number 95, and that was the slowest lap on the circuit that time through for any driver. Certainly not going to be a fun race to look back on here for the 95 team. Had a lot of speed. Strategy not going the way it was expected to, and as such, Balderas not going to have a race to remember. 3 laps to go this time by, and see now Caloff and River Page within the same frame again. Nothing going to be separating now for Caloff, as if River Page comes, any protection for that number 63. It's going to be a 24 coming in full on with 2 laps remaining. It's going to be popsicle sticks now for the number 24, and Page remains in front. Sliding through turns 1 and 2, 5-second advantage over James Thurston, and I think I know now for all the drivers in the field, they considered a done deal. With the yellow flag not flying, the race will be official when they get to the white flag, and it looks like that it will be. 1 lap to go this time by. Page up in front, and he's a driver who's long awaited the opportunity to be one of the juggernauts in this series. Last season, lamenting the fact he was always the 3rd best driver and was never able to be with the likes of Mosteller or Sean Conklin throughout the racing season. Well, now Mosteller far behind, Page far and away the quickest man on the board, and as he comes through turn 3 and 4 this time by, one last trip tonight, the king of Tornado Alley, it's clear, River Page gets it done. Checkered flag flies for River Page. Thurston gonna come home in 2nd, and 21 seconds behind your winner, Corey Lyles, due to finish in 3rd. Dominance for River, and he pulls through with his first victory of 2024. River Page gets it done over James Thurston in 2nd, 3rd in Corey Lyles, and 4th in Aaron Schugel. Going to be Then Henry Cowloff, the final man on the lead lap with 6th Xander McKinney, 7th Daniel Mosteller, 8th Alexander Balderas, 9th Devins Baker, and then 10th in Avery Farrell. To round out the field, Cash Culp, Bryce Calder, Marcus Vanderlee, Cooper Nash, and Casey Bentz. Matthew Brower, your 16th and final registration as Page burns down the house with the number 96 right beside him. River Page going to be coming down and in this time by as he slowly but surely makes his way into pit road. Going to loop it around and go for one more burnout here in the 24, continuing his celebration. And River Page gonna cut the celebration short, and as such, the night is complete for our race winner. How about that event for River Page, who dominated and led over 85 laps on the day? Nobody near him all night long. Let's get a word with your winning driver. First off, it's going to be the number 24 of River Page, who eventually led 84 laps on the day. The most dominant win this season by a wide margin, and it's going to be River Page who gets it done all for himself. The 24 comes home on top. From the pole position, nobody could challenge you all night long, and you dominated. Only a one caution day, 84 laps led. River Page, how does it feel coming out on top?
Well, it feels good, David. I was kind of nervous that we would get a bunch of cautions, and I was definitely not the fastest. Like on the short run, after each caution, Thurston, or after each pit stop, Thurston was like a lot faster than me. But I was the only person that figured out how to actually get my car to be loose instead of tight, because this is the weirdest setup in the game apparently. And I just I don't know, man. I think Demos got a speeding penalty, Throttle got a penalty, so it was just me and Thurston, and he tried to take 2 tires and come out in front of me, but and then as soon as he pit, I pit, and so I was just in front of him to begin with, and so he didn't really have a chance. But that was really fun. I thought I was gonna do good because of the whatever it's called, Saturday Night Thunder, the race here and then the race at Charlotte. So feels good.
And we noticed how, of course, all that confidence coming in, it translated big time tonight. You seem to be very confident with this car at these intermediate tracks. Is there anything in particular about them that makes it so appealing to your driving style?
I don't know. I normally I just have issues with saving tires, but with this car, I definitely haven't mastered it, but I've gotten pretty good at saving tires with this car. It's so important. I think like my first lap, I did I was doing like 31 flats, and like 10 laps after that, I was like a second slower. So like saving tires is super important, and I was just doing a good job. Off the 2, I think you probably noticed that, especially on the first run before we really knew what we were doing. Thurston hit the wall like 5 times in a row when he was in the lead, because the car would just get super light and get completely uncompressed and just go straight into the wall. I hit the wall a couple times. I had some damage, so I took the quick repair on the last pit stop. But I think that definitely helped. It sounds kind of dumb, but obviously just not hitting the wall helped me a lot. Thurston and Throttle and Demos all hit the wall a couple times, and I think it slowed them down. So I think just knowing that if I keep my car clean, I can be really good in the long run is a confidence boost, and just I don't know. I just really like this car. It's just, I think if you ask anyone, they'll tell you it's the most fun car on iRacing, and I definitely agree with that. So.
You'll be taking this very same car next week to Old Atlanta. That's always a troublesome one when it comes to tire saving, especially. Such a good run, and you're moving up to the points lead. You think you can keep that good success up for another night?
Honestly, I don't know. I've only done one race with this car there, and it didn't go very good. So, hoping I could turn it around. The races that we've been doing have been pretty right front heavy, and that is just all about saving your rear tires, which is now I think my biggest issue. So, it'll be tough. I have to figure out how to save my tires, and then I think I'll be good. Hopefully, I can do my best Kevin Harvick impression and just ride the bottom around and pull away. I think if I do what I did here, I'll be pretty good.
First win out the way for this number 24 team in River Page. You get it done with domination. If there's anyone else you'd like to shout out, make sure to let us know.
Well, Flopper Racing and Haggard Electrical and FTN and Mason and the admin team for always doing a good job and making a great schedule. This car is so much fun. I'm so glad we get to use it. I'm a fan of the next gen, but I'm so glad we get to use this car. It just makes these races so much more fun.
Just like that, River, getting the checkered flag here in Tornado Alley, you win the Royal 150. We thank you for your time.
Thank you, buddy.
River Page on the move. Next driver to speak to tonight finished second, and really not much that James Thurston could do all night long. Nonetheless, he will finish 9 laps led on the day. Second place performance. Thurston, tonight it looked like River Page another zip code, but you kept yourself far from the rest of the field and came home clearly in second. So what was it like out there here in Kansas?
Yeah, he was really quick. I just ruined my own race early. I just hit the wall too many times, and he didn't. He didn't hit the wall anywhere near as many times as I did. I had a bunch of damage, and I salvaged what I could, and we came home second. We had tried a 2-tire strategy, hoping to get in front of him, so I could hold him off for a little bit and see if we could do something there at the end. But it just didn't work out. But second's not that bad, so we'll take second. The setup was pretty goofy this week, so hopefully we'll finally get a good setup at Atlanta. But yeah, thanks to Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsports. Congrats to River on the win. Possession 1-2. It's exactly what you want to see, man.
Both of you drivers far out from the rest of the field. We saw the trouble early, and River mentioned it. These cars seem to get very light when you're out in front, and that's something you suffered from all night long. How was it like dealing, of course, with the air given that circumstance?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it would feel like it was turning, then you get to turn 2 on that D transition, and the nose of the car just goes into the air. It wants to take flight, and it goes into the wall. But yeah, as long as you could keep your nose out of dirty air, you were generally okay. But I don't know, just never driven anything like it. That seems to be the trend on iRacing this week. Is a lot of the setups are unlike anything that I've ever done on the service, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but yeah, that's just how it is, and hopefully Atlanta's got a more normal setup that we're used to. Of
course, Atlanta up next, as you mentioned. You feeling confident about that race coming up next week?
I'd say I am, but I don't know if it drives like anything like this, probably not, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll just take them how they go.
Take a second place finish tonight. James Thurston, 9 laps led on today. If there's anyone else you'd like to shout out, make sure to let us know.
About good right now. Just happy to bring it home second, get some more good points, second 2 weeks in a row. You obviously want to be first, but better to be second than wreck on the last lap and lose a bunch of spots.
Like that, Thurston with a runner-up finish here in Kansas. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thurston going to be back on the move with only one more driver to speak to in Corey Lyles. He's had quite a few podiums as of recent and gets back up there with another successful result. Now, we can't pull up his stats because he started on pit road and missed the start of this race. Nevertheless, Corey Lyles will get it done for a podium finish, and let's bring him in right now. From missing the start and going 1 lap down to coming out with a podium tonight, Corey Lyles, quite the race it was from the bottom up. How about that?
Yeah, I missed the start again. Missed the auto club, missed it here. Yeah, I'm surprised I finished P3. I didn't realize I had that strong of a race car.
And it looks like the strength's really coming in during that long run segment. You pulled away on the second pit cycle after, of course, the first stops, shall we say, and got up to the podium there. And from there, looks like nobody could keep up with you. What was it like understanding the car in the long run, which seemed to be your biggest strength?
Well, I just seemed like you needed to save tires and run on the top lane. Nothing else. I mean, I started to drift down a little bit to the middle lane, but I mostly kept it top. It was just mostly a tire saving race.
And it looks like, yep, tire saving a huge deal tonight. Was there anything in particular that helped you stay out there, or were you just running your own race?
I was just running my own race. Everybody was making terrible decisions. Both my pit stops were absolutely terrible. Almost wrecked on both of them. Surprisingly, didn't. But yeah, I just had to hope that nobody around me wrecked me.
Well, it looks like tonight that's exactly how it went down. But of course, we got another very exciting track in Old Atlanta next week. Maybe a chance to go for two podiums.
Yeah, might as well.
Hoping to see a little bit more of that success with Corey Lyles from the back of the field up. If there's anyone else you'd like to shout out, the floor is yours.
JFR, we are in a rebrand right now, and Aaron Schugel, HSF, and I think that's about it.
Just like that, Corey Lyles rounding out the podium tonight. Thank you for your time.
Yep, no problem.
Lyles on the move. He'll conclude the drivers we speak to tonight for our podium session. It's going to be, of course, Corey Lyles in third, James Thurston second, and River Page getting it done and collecting the victory here in Kansas. Now, stay tuned live on FTN. We have a broadcast already going with the NASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, and in addition, the Highline Racing League coming at you at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back on FTN with more coverage of these Xfinity cars. If you enjoyed this broadcast, though, I've been David Kreutz, your commentator and producer, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's race. This was the Royal 150. Season 5 of the IORA Cup Series is well underway, and we came to the virtual Kansas Speedway with a fantastic race to show for it. Thank you all for watching, and we hope to have you next Thursday night at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, and of course, wish to see you live again on FTN. Thank you for your immense support, and we hope you have a great night.